last session.
There's a break?
Before
Don't we get a break?
Oh. We're now going to hear from someone called Fergus McClelland. He's currently a voice coach and a presentation skills trainer, but he's had a fascinating earlier life. He started off as a child actor, taking the main part in a film called Sammy Going South, supported by people you may have heard of like Edward G. Robinson. But undoubtedly his proudest moment has to be turning down a major part in Andrew Lloyd Webber's first ever musical. So, to talk about the power of why, please welcome Fergus McClelland.
First, I would like to say that I've been stimulated and enjoyed the whole of the evening so far. I've got friends here presenting, doing brilliantly. I've got people I've never met watching, which I like, and a fairly large audience, which I like. So I started first on the radio at the age of 4 in 1955. Long story, not going to go into it, because I've only got 9 minutes. You can all say ah now. Ah. Okay, that makes me feel better. I was sort of getting you to give me a standing ovation before I even started, which would make me feel even better and would change the entire energy of the evening. And I thought, no, that's a bit cheap and cheesy, really. So I'm not going to do it. And Vince is nodding, you see. So I'm not going to do it. Okay, the power of why. I bet nearly everyone in this room is wondering, maybe everybody, maybe only 10 people, maybe everybody else is not wondering anything, just thinking get it over with. But I think probably a lot of you are thinking, why is he doing a speech about the power of why? What does why mean? Well, I got taught a lot about the power of why. Partly, I have to say, by a friend of lots of us in this room called Rod Sloan, who's a Toastmaster friend of mine I've known for about 9 years. And I was talking about my business to him. He said, why would I book you, Fergus? I said, well, because I do this and I do that. Yeah, but why would I care? Well, because I'm really good at it. Yeah, but why are you special? Why are you different? Why are you better? And it was a really hard session, because he's my marketing mentor, and it taught me a lot. And then, I'd like to ask you a brief question, but you don't have to answer it, because I ain't got time to wait for the answers. How many of you have got a child or children? A lot of you. How many of you met a child or children in your lives? How many of you, I'm going to get you with this one, all of you I think have, apart from any cyborgs here, how many of you have ever been a child? Okay, got everybody now, fine. Do you remember that period? I have to say, my daughter is now 5. She is the most beautiful child in the universe. I'm sorry, yours might be great to you, you might love them to bits, but mine is the best, okay? However, at the age of about 2, she discovered the power of why. I said, can you eat your breakfast? Why? Okay, this taught me some very, very advanced negotiation skills. Now, the reason I'm talking about this to you, 1, this is in aid of a children's charity. 2, because you're all business people of one type or another. And there's a question you always have to ask, or you always have to answer, when you're negotiating for any type of business, or if you want to pick up a boy or a girl in a pub, or both. You have to answer the question, why should they want you? Because they're going to be asking it. Now, I know, and my great friend Philip there knows, that when you're speaking to an audience, it doesn't matter how big it is, it could be 1 million people. You're not speaking to 1 million people. You're speaking to 1 million individuals individually. I've seen Philip in action over the last 8-10 years. He can kill a heckler with fun because he doesn't care, because he knows he's talking to one person. The audience goes, oh my God, that's so good, because he knows he has to answer their why. There was a particular presentation, I was talking to him about it tonight. He had a very, very awkward heckler, and he killed the heckler in a really good, gentle, fun way because he answered the whys. Now, my daughter, why should I go to bed? Well, because you'll be tired for school tomorrow if you don't. Okay, but why do I have to go to bed now? Because if you don't go to bed now, I'm not going to read you a story. Whoa! Suddenly, she's teaching me about negotiation. Daddy, I want that toy from up there. Well, I'm sorry. I'm taller than you. I can reach it. Negotiate. What are you going to give me? And she says, oh, you've got leverage, Daddy. I said, oh my goodness. She's 5. She's ruling me now. She's been doing it for 3 years, and she's a total killer. I've bred a monster, really. But what it does is the next time I do a cold call, the next time I speak to a previous client, the next time I speak with a client, the next time I'm training someone for a full day, especially if it's a really senior CEO, you want me to do some Shakespeare? Why? I have to have it ready. I have to know. I have to be fully on the ball. And I've learned that skill partly from my daughter, but I'd like to tell you about another story. There was a talk about the Jack Petchey Foundation earlier. And I was working for Speakers Bank before Jack Petchey got in and really gave it a big boost. If you don't know about Speakers Bank, you can look it up. And I was training in all 12 secondary schools in Greenwich. Now the idea was that I would get all the gifted and all the talented from every single school, because I'd managed to book every school. Okay, one of those schools was a sink school, way out in the middle of nowhere, so I won't name it. Nearly all the boys were big, butch, solid African-British boys, Caribbean-British boys, who were having a hard time at school. I mean, they were having a seriously hard time. So instead of sending me the gifted and talented, they actually sent me the awkward and difficult, most of whom were very, very intelligent. So on the first session, I had 38 of them wrapped up in the gym. And in fact, the room was a bit like this, but bigger. And they were over there, and they were wrapped up on one of those weird benchy type things. Right in the back row, right in the middle, was the biggest alpha male human being you've seen. He was 6'3" and 14 years old. Okay, right in the middle. And so he said, "Sir," he was very polite, but I could tell there was an undercurrent of, and he said, "Sir," I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why should we be doing this public speaking course?" I said, "Well, I know some speakers, and I know some people here know some of the speakers I'm talking about, who make £1 million a year." He went, "Oh, okay, sir." "Do you make £1 million a year, sir?" "No, but I hope to." I said, "Okay, so why should we listen to you instead of those other speakers?" And there was this little pause, this dangerous pause, and I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "Because it's fun!" And it worked. He burst out laughing. That's it, I had all 38 now nailed, totally. And then, at the end of this public speaking competition, about 2 or 3 months later, he came second out of about 800 who'd done the competition. And he came to me afterwards, and he'd done this incredible speech, and some of the other people didn't understand. He would stand up and say, "Stand up if you've ever been hated on!" Right, and stick his fist in the air. The whole audience got up. Wow. So I spoke to his teacher later. I said, "What was that about?" He said, "Well, he was bullied. He got to 6'3", he became a bully. But during the course, he changed. And he came to me after the competition, after coming second, he said, "I want to do something special in my life from now on. I want to help people. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a priest or a preacher or something. I want to make people's lives better." And all I did was answer his why in that gymnasium. That's all I did. And the other why I want to think you to think about, which I've only got less than 2 minutes to tell you about, so I'll have to talk to you another time and make you all feel wonderful. Why is your voice so important every single time you speak? How long do you think it takes before you to make an effect in somebody else? Half a minute? 2 minutes? No, it's 5,000ths of a second. It was discovered by, I've forgotten his name, Joseph Ledoux. In New York, 1984, he played a tone and put an electric shock through the cages of rats while doing MRI scans, because he's an expert on the amygdala and the limbic system of the brain, which is what makes you go, ooh, ah, ooh, yum, and drives your bloodstream and everything, okay? Suddenly it developed, oh, keep laughing, get everybody else to laugh, thank you. In 5,000ths of a second, a new path into the amygdala was created from the ear. How long does it take you to hear something and remember it? I promise you, it's 1/4 of a second. Look it up. It's between 0.2 and 0.25 of a second. How long does it take you to react to a thunderbolt, or a fire engine, or a police car? 5,000ths of a second. So if your voice sounds like a bully in their childhood, forget it. If my voice sounds like rubbish to you, forget it. If my voice sounds good, you listen to my words. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you!
Thank you, Fergus. Now, because we're running a bit behind, we're going to have an interval for just 10 minutes. So be back here about 5 to 10, please.
5 to 10.